let's see. We're just testing to see if this actually works. See if it works better with this. Hello? This is just a test. We'll see if we can do this in the long term. This is just a test. See if we can do this in the long term. All right. Mic works. Everything works. All right. Welcome to Mastering Trading. We're looking at the SPY right now to see if we can do some small trades, day trading. Let's see. It seems everything's working fine. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm gonna just be looking at the chart real quick to see what we got over here with the SPY. Let me clean this up a little bit. Okay. All right, let's look at this hour chart real quick. All right, so it's an upward trend. We have all-time highs here, 420 to 90. I think that's all-time highs. I'm gonna double check real quick. We're gonna put a line right here just to know that that's a very high resistance. Let's see, 52-week high, 422.82, 422.9. Yeah. All right, so that's the all-time high. We're gonna keep the line right there. Let's make it red. That way we know. And let's make it a little bit bigger. We know that's big resistance right there. If it hits that, I don't think it's gonna hit it today, but if it does, that's a good resistance. So, all right, we have kind of like a double bottom here, pushing up, kind of like a sideways channel coming in over here. Let's actually draw a channel real quick. I don't know if you can, yeah, okay, they did add it. Started from here. Okay. Top of the channel for 2167. That's what I'm seeing right now. All right, so basically right now what I'm going to be looking at is probably looking for a put. It is still an upward trend, but stocks go up and down. That's usually how it goes. They move up and down in zigzag form, so you can play it on the call, you can play it on the put. I see that it's close to resistance, so I want to actually play a put. I did have some lines here drawn. It's above the mid range of the Bollinger. I just did a knee all day high. Okay, so what I'm looking at now is to see if there's a double peak over here. That thing moved my, whatever, let's take that off. see if there's a double peak over here. See if there's an opportunity for a um, put. See if there's 421.22 access a new resistance since it's a new all-day high. Um, all right, we have it. Seems a little bit overextended, at least to me. The only problem is that the mid range is still pretty high, so I don't even know if it's actually gonna. Usually, I like to trade at resistance or support, just because that gives me a lower risk when I'm trading. You know, if I'm putting a put at resistance, if it breaks that resistance, then I can get out with a very small loss. If I buy a call at support, then if it breaks at support, I can get out with a minimal loss. So that's usually how I play things. I try to. The name of the game is managing risk, reducing your losses. Because at some point you will get some wins. It's just making sure that your losses are as small as possible. Um, and also understanding the ranges that you're trading. So, for example, um, yeah, usually if I'm trading the Bollinger, if I'm trading the top of the Bollinger, buying a put at the top of the Bollinger, the mid Bollinger line usually works as a support. And right now there's just not a lot of range between the where we at in the mid range. Um, it's like this channel is very small and it's continuing to be small as it's going up. Usually, the top of the Bollinger, when there hasn't been an explosion, it's just been steady going up. Usually, the top of the Bollinger and the bottom they kind of open up and give you a range that you can trade, but I don't see that here. If you look at the 5 minute chart, this thing is just okay. So we're looking. I thought I was looking at 5 minute. Okay, that was the 1 minute. The 5 minute, we do have a Bollinger at 420.80. Um, which is a good opportunity. I'm actually gonna buy a put right here. Um, as I said, low risk. If it breaks that resistance, I'm out. Um, don't really lose anything, but this can definitely be a double peak forming right here. And usually, when I trade, I just trade probabilities and minimum risk. Um, so I'm seeing the opportunity of maybe a double peak. In the 5 minute chart, we are at the top of the Bollinger. It is pretty extended. Um, we can come to the downside, at least in the mid-range, maybe the VWAP. In terms of options, that will be a decent trade, depending on how what option you pick or whatever. Um, okay, so we are moving down. Okay. And usually what I do is I look at my computer for my chart, but I actually do the trades on my phone because these are very quick trades. Um, it just makes it much faster for me to do the trades on the phone while I'm looking at the chart on the computer. Let's see if it breaks through. Um, I don't. Honestly, I don't like days like these where the SPY is kind of very slowly, steadily doing something. I like a little bit more volatility, a little bit more ranges. Usually these days are pretty terrible for me. But all right, so we have 25 cents on the break. Could be a fake out, but I don't want to risk it because this thing can go all the way up to I mean 39. There's the next resistance or the real resistance of the day. I might wait it out depending on how. Buy another option up there. There you go. All right, we have the mid line on the Bollinger on the minute chart. Seeing if it'll bounce off of there or break through. Like I said, we do have in the 5-minute chart, we have the mid Bollinger at 420.83, BWAP at 420.67. I will be looking to take my profits there if it breaks through. Let's see. Like I said, depending on the trade, like for example, that small movement on my trade is a 2.5% trade, just that little tiny movement. So if you're doing options, you want to be careful with it because you do want to trade them quickly. But you can get a decent profit percentage if you know what you're doing. The only thing is that you really got to mitigate your losses because it goes both ways, right? Like you can make a decent percentage of profit, but you can also lose a decent percentage on on your losses if you don't are careful. All right, we did break the mid line on the Bollinger. See if we go lower to the BWAP on the minute chart. I'm looking at the 5-minute. Looking at that white line right there, 420.80 to take my profits. This reverses, it is what it is. But it did break the mid on the Bollinger. Wow. It's 1,346,000 volume, positive volume on 1135. That's crazy. Compared to 72,000, that is usually the volume per minute. That candle was 1.3 million. That's a good sign for the bulls. Now it's just patience, waiting. I do want to see what's going on in some other. Oops. Let's just do this instead. Some other stocks. I want to look at Apple. Apple is moving higher. Microsoft is moving downwards. Just okay. There was resistance on Microsoft coming down now. Okay. It's a little bit of support there. What we got? I don't know. We'll see. This might actually. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. All right. Let's see. I could take some profits here, but I'm waiting on the big move. All right. What time is it? 11:26. 12:30. Okay. So the next hour candle starts in 4 minutes. That's perfect. Okay. Because in the hour chart, we can see that there's resistance. If the next candle starts in 4 minutes, this can go down in a red candle. Um, you'd see the mid range coming down the next candle, and then bouncing off of that and going higher. That's what I'm seeing. Now, give me a second. Mid 420, 420.50. That's a mid range in the hour. So I would expect. Because it came down and broke through. Came down. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. VWAP. Kind of same place. All right. Moment of truth. See what happens here. Like I said, I already have a put where I bought over here at the top, looking at this double peak forming. I was looking at the 5 minute chart, seeing. I mean, it's an upper trend, but I'm trying to get the wave down, seeing if it goes to the mid band at 420.85. That will be probably where I take my profits. Could go down all the way to the VWAP, 420.60 something. So did buy a put a few minutes ago. Right now the put is a 6%, which is pretty good. I could take my profits, but I'm gonna see. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Let's see if we can have a big move down. But a 6% profit for my second trade actually today. The first trade I lost nothing pretty much. Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. Usually what I look at is 5% trades. But sometimes when I see things like that, sometimes I wait a little bit. If I have more than one option, I take a profit off out of one of my options and keep another one to see if there's a bigger move. Sometimes I regret it because sometimes I hold too long and then it reverses and then I end up not making, either making a very small profit or not making anything at all, actually taking a small L. But you gotta be patient sometimes, even though I do, when I talk to people about trading, like my cousins and stuff like that, I do tell them, if you're doing this, take your profits. Just forget about it. Take your profits as quick as you can, because you can predict a small movement and you can kind of look at the chart and see, okay, this might seem like it's gonna go down for a little bit, but you don't know. At every support, it can bounce up. So taking your profits, nobody. Uh, what's the saying? Nobody becomes poor by taking their profits. So, or nobody breaks their account by taking profits. Let me see. Okay. Let's see if this midband right here in the minute chart is a resistance. We go more to the downside. Hopefully. That's what I hope. Should be. But like I said, you never know. RSI at 450. The bottom of RSI today was 26.70. So we have a big move down to where I think it should go to continue the upward movement. We will have around 30 RSI. So everything looks like it should happen. All right. I want to be careful here because there was a little support here. I want to make sure there's some bounce off of that again. And it is bouncing off of that, but let's see. Hopefully it plays out how I think it will. That way when it goes down, hits that the 420.50, we can actually buy a call. But I don't know. It's not. It might be one of these where I should have just taken my profits and kind of waited for to start another position later. That's one thing. When you're trading, your worst enemy is yourself. It's your mind. That's your worst enemy. Mid-band still resistance. If this breaks through, it'll be. I mean, it's not that it'll be bad for me. I'm not gonna lose any money, but I'm not gonna be making any money either. All right. Now what I want to see. Is it gonna be a fake out? Sometimes we do have these fake outs. I want to show what happened yesterday. I got actually a pretty good put yesterday, which it was not necessarily similar to this, but there was a fake out and that thing collapsed from 1 second to the other. I feel bad for the people that had calls because it was actually it was pretty. I mean, it was good for me, but I can imagine how bad it was for those that had calls. Okay, this is like I said, don't necessarily like trade like these days on SPY. The um, very slow movements that just I don't necessarily like it. Yeah, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing it going down, but gotta be patient. I mean, it looks like the end of an Elliott wave on an ABC. But As I buy my put at the top, so I'm still good. Um, if it breaks upwards, I'm just gonna get out and have very minimal, if any, losses whatsoever. Um, Low risk, high rewards trades. Look at the 5 minute again. Yeah, I mean, it looks right. A separation from the top of the Bollinger of what it seems an AB. Mid range, upward, first wave down. I mean, I think I'm right, but let me see. I can look at the price. So let me show you what happened yesterday. Associated. This is the 5 minutes. It doesn't look as intense, but this. So you have kind of this a very similar situation, breaking the high of day, um, and then it was like this kind of fake out because it was moving higher. They had this green candle that made it seem like it was going to keep on moving higher to maybe closer to the all-time high. And then you had this kind of just happen out of nowhere. I mean, and it doesn't seem like a lot, obviously, if you're looking at the spot. That's let's see, open 420.70 the high, and the low was 419.85. But that's a whole dollar on the SPY. I mean, in an option, you're buying a put. That's that can be 100% trade. I mean, um, so that was pretty cool. Actually happened a couple times, but I didn't have capital at that point to trade. All right, let's go back. This is actually not looking great for me. So slow, so slow. And usually, from my experience trading the SPY, this is not a good sign for bulls. But I don't know. It's just a sideways trend right now. It's taking forever to do what it's gonna do. If you do trade the Vollingers, as they get closer to each other, that means that there's gonna be an explosion one way or the other, upwards or downwards. So something's gonna happen soon. Now, my prediction is gonna go down because it needs to kind of come down a little bit before it can continue to move up more. That's my thesis, but you could be thinking the opposite and be like, no, it's just gonna keep on going higher to, pre-market, or higher than that. Maybe we're looking at the hour chart, which is at the all-time high of 420.22. So, but in my opinion, this movement is kind of too slow for me, where I feel like it needs to gain more strength by coming down. It doesn't seem like it had the, and this is how I look at it. Obviously trading is demand and supply, right? Now I could be wrong, but how I look at it is, okay, people are buying higher, higher, higher. Got to this point for 21, people started selling off. There was not enough strength to keep on moving up. There was not enough demand to keep moving up. Tried it again, not enough demand to move up again. You know, so, and then it's trying it again. I don't think there's enough demand to move up. I think we do need to come down before it moves higher. So that's kind of how I look at it. But been wrong probably the same amount of times as I've been right. All right, this is the moment of truth. Either it's gonna break through and I'm gonna get out with a very small loss, or it's gonna come down. 421.25. It's a day high. So either it's going to break it or it's going to collapse. Let's see. Like I said, for trading, you need a lot of patience. Trading, it will test your patience. And honestly, I always felt like I was a very patient person. But start trading, you discover that maybe you're not as patient as you thought you were. Well, the other thing that I'm seeing, and I mean, it's a sideways channel, so obviously this is pretty obvious, but you know, you have kind of this going on right now. It's literally just right there, that channel right there. That's what it is. Actually, I think it has the there, whatever, same thing. Like I said, the way that I trade is low risk, high reward. So, perfect time to buy a put. Because if it breaks through this resistance, you have a very minimal losses. However, if it goes to the downside, you have more space to be profitable. All right. So SPY is so slow today, man. All right. Are we finally gonna break through this channel? Like I said, I bought a put back all the way back here. I'm just waiting to see if this breaks through to the downside. And actually, maybe you know, this is my first time streaming. I'm kind of testing this, but actually, I could have bought another put over here. But I wasn't really thinking about that. Should have. Would have been a perfect place to buy another put. All right. I wonder I don't even know. How do I check if there's people watching or anything? I'll figure this out some other time. Make sure that this works. All right, broke through the mid band on the minute chart. Still on this channel. Like I said before, I look at supply and demand. But right now, it just doesn't seem like SPY has strength to get past the day high. So my bet is that it will fall down to gain more strength to keep on moving higher. That's why I buy a put. And I trade reversals. Like I said before, I trade reversals. So I buy puts at resistance for low risk, high reward trades, and I buy calls at support for low risk, high reward trades. You're not gonna see me. I mean, I can make mistakes, obviously. Sometimes you're trading and you're not patient enough or waiting for your play to happen. So, you know, but my um, my strategy is to never trade in the middle of a wave or a trend. Either has to be a resistance or support. Okay, we're testing the bottom of this channel, seeing if we finally break through. I can make some money. Come on, break 421. What are we looking at? 5%. I mean, the mid, it was at 420.80. Now it's at 420.98. So the mid band on the 5 minute chart has actually been moving up, which is not, I was gonna trade to the mid band. That's not good for me because that means that the range of my trade is actually diminishing um, as this channel is moving sideways. So yeah, and I thought about it in that same second. I was like, I should take my 5% profit because I didn't notice that that mid band was actually moving higher so much. Um, yeah, man, should have paid attention to that. But not a good sign for me. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Sometimes you do have fake outs. Um, my exit point is if it breaks this resistance. That's when I get out at a small loss. But maybe I should have taken my 5% profit. And it's moments like these that I should have had two puts. I only bought one because I could have sold one already with a 5% profit and then traded the other one with, my profits and waiting to see what happens. So, um, seems like it was a fake out. Pretty weird. Yeah. Ooh. Oh man, there you go. That's what I was waiting for. That's what I was waiting for. Right there. All right, 14% trade. We're out. We're out. That's what I was waiting for. Just that move down. That was a fake out again. Same thing that happened that I was mentioning that happened yesterday. Um, and fake outs, they're tough sometimes because maybe for example somebody that's trading, you see this big green candle coming up, you get out of the trade right away. You're like, all right, I'm taking my loss or mitigating my losses. This is gonna go higher, and then it has this fake out. And usually, you want to have a plan. You want to trade with a mental stop. I mean, I do options, so I had to have a mental stop. But if you just trade in the shares of a stock, you do want to set those up. Um, at least that way you take off the emotional aspect of trading. That you don't want that to mess up with you. But what I was gonna say is that usually, you have to have a plan. So obviously for me, this was resistance up here at 421, 22, 25, and I was gonna wait until it broke that. Um, Usually SPY moves quick if it's moving higher or lower in a sideways trend. So like I was mentioning earlier, you have the Bollinger coming closer together. That means that it's going to be a big movement. So you were either going to see a big movement up or down. Um, but when you saw this green candle and then right away it's like, wait a second, no, we're not moving higher and starts selling off down. That's usually a sign of potentially a trap. Um, because if not, this should have just moved past the resistance at least, but it didn't. So it's a good first trade of the second trade of the day. Made a 50% profit on that one. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. My first one was a small loss, so all right, let's see what's going on here. It did actually break that mid band on the 5 minute, so this might actually go all the way down to the VWAP. But like I said, I don't trade these mid ranges. I wish I had had two options. I could have taken profit of one, kept the other one to see if it goes all the way down to VWAP. But I'm not going to trade this because this is in the middle of a range. Not really interested in that. What I'm looking at right now is, okay, 5 minute, this potentially can go down to the VWAP, which would actually also be the lower band in the same spot, which would be a good place probably for support to buy a call to continue this upward movement. Because in reality, even though, and this is the thing, like even though it's going down right now, this is actually starting, I mean, at least for the day, for this since 10:30, it's kind of like an upward trend, right? So this can be just the first wave. We can be looking at, let's see, where's the, we can be looking at something like this. Okay, this is the 1, 2, 3 higher. I mean, and maybe this goes up to, I mean, maybe not today, but how do I take this off? But we could be looking at something like this. That's what I'm looking at right now. But now we just got to be patient, waiting for the next play. How do I get off of that? That makes no sense. Like, how do you stop? I don't know. I gotta double check that. All right. And also, like I said before, take your profits. Nobody breaks their account by taking the profits. So once that big movement happened, the first thing I do is, all right, I'm out. Even if it's continuing to go up, down, I'm taking my gains. Which a 15% trade is a great trade. 420.71 is this? I mean, no, it's just the same VWAP, but what's a lower? 420.65. Yeah. So looking at the VWAP for potential bounce. What time is it? It's about to be 1. People getting off of lunch. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna be done with the streaming. This is just a testing. First time I do this, so I just wanted to make sure that it works. So I'm actually gonna be out and eat something real quick. Even though I should probably wait to see if this hits the VWAP for a call. The SPY is so slow today. Yeah, nah. All right, I'm gonna be out. Thank you for watching. If anybody was watching, I don't even know if people were watching, so doubt it. But all right.